What is up, y'all? My name is Nick. This is Roll Coverage. Today we're breaking down Thomas Brown's Thursday press conference before the Saints game. Lock in. Let's get it going.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Yeah, man, we're breaking down this press conference. Again, this is Thursday's press conference before the Saints game. Mr. Thomas Brown, please take it away.
Seeing Hayden address really where he is right now. What's been your interaction with him and even his progress at this point, Hayden Hurst?
Okay. Miss first part of the question again.
I was saying we've seen him address sort of his status
Right.
and his challenges to recover after Chicago. I was curious of your interaction with him, how he's doing.
I think he's doing well. I think obviously trying to stay as positive as he can be when it comes to just trying to recover, get back to where he was before. But it's obviously unfortunate anytime we have any player injured for any reason when it comes to the recovery process. But he's battling back in good spirits.
So I think that there is a measurable thing in Thomas Brown before he was given play calling and, of course, having it removed by Reich and how he reacts to things now. I, so far, have loved his body language. And here, he's not giving me anything yet. I'm not even a body language expert, but just read and see what people are doing and how they're really feeling. He's always been the one that's always been very open and everything like that. So that's what I'm coming to expect from this. I also have to say, it's pretty decent looking jacket, by the way.
Chuba put on a really good showing against the Bucks.
Yep.
At the beginning of the season, did you think he had this in him? Did you notice it during the season? Like, where has this come from?
Yeah, so one of the great things about Chuba is how consistent he is every single day as far as the overall approach to the meeting room, to practice field, even from a walkthrough standpoint. Always doing a really good job of urgency in and out of the huddle, but just overall ability-wise, has an attitude about him from a physicality standpoint as far as playing downfield. So definitely excited about his progress throughout the season, but also this last week as well.
That's the body language I love. Open, really telling people how he feels. That's what I think the fan base needs is honesty in these trying times, in these one-win season so far times. So this is what we need. Keep it up. I agree with his thing about Chuba as well. I like Chuba as a running back. I do not believe he's a running back number one, at least right now. If he is, he's more of a breakout, having a good number one day, but he's right now a running back number two in my book. Whole breakdown on how I actually believe, the number ones compared to number twos, because I don't even think somebody like T. Higgins is a wide receiver number one. And many people do. So that's a whole separate argument. But I think Chuba has the potential to be a running back number one talent behind a much better offensive line. And I think we saw that in that Bucks game.
A little bit about being healthy for the first time in his NFL life. Has he opened up to you about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say as far as guys that take the best care of his bodies, I'd probably say with Chuba is probably at the top of the list when it comes to extra recovery, kind of prehab, getting his body ready to rock and roll. And obviously playing the position running back-wise, it's a brutal spot. So when it comes to the contact you face week in and week out, it's important those guys do a really good job of trying to stay fresh as they can and also take care of their bodies as well.
We saw Bryce get under center more, especially in the first quarter.
Yep.
Though the statistic that we were told, and obviously you can verify, at Alabama, he spent 98% out of pistol and shotgun. So under center was less than 2% of his total snaps in college. So the reason why they were originally not going to work on his footwork and some of those other stuff is they were just going to have him understand the playbook this year. So that's something to take into account as well. This being under center thing is not what he's used to doing, at least coming from his old system in college.
How do you think he do? I know there's an issue, or not an issue, but the feeling that he wasn't real comfortable under center coming out of Alabama. How do you think he did? How do you think that benefited you guys?
I think he did great as far as adding some new wrinkles to that from an offensive standpoint. I would say in today's world, almost every college quarterback coming to the league is going to probably be primarily in the shotgun for the most part. So it'd be a new process for anybody coming to the league. Bryce, on top of that, is being able to be under center, be comfortable with that. And as far as how it benefits us, is being able to marry our under center run game, our movements, and obviously play action pass as well.
It seemed to be effective. Later in the game, we didn't see it quite as much. Was that because of the weather, or had they adjusted, or why was that?
We had it from a second half standpoint as well, so we mixed some of those in. Some of those play action passes also came from the gun. Also, we had a huge kind of play action pass to Mingo down the left sideline that was kind of set up off of a same kind of marriage. So to me, it's about being able to try to find the best ways to string together plays effectively to keep us on track to be efficient, but also to kind of put a seed out from a defensive standpoint as far as what we're doing from a presentation. So we kind of give them down and down out as far as the overall operation.
Again, I think those are all great answers and the right answers. Bryce is going to take time to adapt to taking most of his snaps from under center. But like he said, that's all of them. They're all taking it from pistol and shotgun. So I think that's something that really needs to lend credence, that it's not really a big jump to say that, it was better to have him in those sets early in the season. And now that he's slowly maybe getting a little bit more comfortable, even though he's on pace to be sacked the fourth most amount of times in a single season at 64 right now. That says a lot about his character, his durability, and everything like that. I said this season is a win for me as long as we can get out of it, and he is 100% healthy. So that's going to be a part of Thomas Brown, keeping that man healthy.
Jonathan Mingo, what have you seen from him in terms of how he is progressing?
It's been great to kind of see that guy come to life as far as his overall just demeanor, understanding of the game, but just trying to find ways to move around, put him in different spots, give our guys access, and he's got a great demeanor and attitude about himself.
With the play outside of the picture and you coming to the end stretch of the season, what kind of things are you focusing on specifically offensively as you start the game plan?
Yeah, regardless of where we are right now, where we've been in the past, the focus is going to be on daily improvement. So it kind of gets redundant. It kind of sounds the same thought process every single day, but it's truly about us evaluating everything we're doing coaching-wise to make ourselves better as much as we can be, but also put our players in the best spot to be successful against New Orleans.
I think he will be. I think this is a very winnable game, especially the way Evero has had the defense. Just in case you guys haven't seen, I did a breakdown of his press conference that actually happened right before this one. It is already up on YouTube if you are seeing this. Just in case you ever need other breakdowns, I am now breaking down all of our division, Panthers, Bucks, Saints, and Falcons, over on our YouTube channel, Row Coverage. And just in case you guys want to follow us, we are Row Coverage Pod on Twitter.
Follow up on Mingo. Do you have a sense of why it appears, at least on his stat line, he appears to be having more success?
I think, again, just being able to get him more involved in the offense, his overall understanding of what we're doing. But I think being able to put them guys in different spots as far as moving across the field, but also because of how well Adam's been across the board as far as his effectiveness catching balls. Guys kind of keying in more on him from a defensive standpoint.
A lot has happened in the last 10 days or so for everyone, but especially for Bryce. What, obviously, Frank got fired, his quarterback coach got fired as well. What have you seen from him just generally about how he's handling the last 10 days?
It was a lot last week for everybody involved as far as how much change happened. One thing I love about him is just how consistent he is as far as his approach overall, his overall demeanor. I think being able to be locked in and be focused even in the midst of scrutiny, change is going to be tough for everybody, but I think he's handling it well.
You've had a lot of moving parts on the O-line. What did you see from Nash last week and just where he's come since he was signed as an undrafted free agent?
I thought he played well for the most part. I think obviously evaluated Nash for the entire group as well. We can always find ways to improve ourselves, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Where do you fall on Bryce's depth on pass sets, and if those have been in?
So this is what he's bringing up. His depth is something that was brought up in the Athletic article written by Joe Person and Diana Rossini, the one about Hunger Games, where people inside the organization were saying that a lot of his issues were coming that he was not taking enough steps in his progressions and everything like that, and he needs to step farther back. But obviously that gives some other problems, and that your offensive lineman might not be able to protect you as well to much farther distance. There's a lot of other factors that play into that. So I'm very curious to hear his view, because he could, I guess, theoretically have been the offensive coach that went with Scott Fitterer behind Frank's back, but I still believe that the offensive coach thing is a red herring, and I think it's Chris Tabor. That's just my tinfoil hat theory. It's going to take us a long time to find out, but I want to hear his response.
Consistent or caused any issues with protection?
I think we've been inconsistent overall offensively the entire year. So I think it's on us from a coaching staff standpoint to continue to coach our guys the right way and get more improvements when it comes to his position, but also O-line wise, but receivers as well, getting open from a timing standpoint so the ball can come out on time as it kind of relates to pass protection.
There were a couple of times in short yardage situations last week where you guys failed to execute. I know earlier in the season y'all would bring Dalton in maybe for a QB sneak. Is that something, without giving too much, tipping your hat too much, that something y'all are looking at potentially bringing back?
Well, I think we're always evaluating, trying to figure out ways to be effective on early downs. I think we brought him in against New Orleans in the first game. It was kind of more of a toss crack to a running back for an effective third down situation. But it's more about trying to make sure our guys are in the right spot mentally. We can execute well and stay on track as far as overall operation.
What do you think have been the issues? I know you're going to say execution with
I mean,
those
it's
with
the
those
truth, though.
with those short
You answered the question for me. It's the
No, you got to
truth,
give me
though, you know.
with those short yardage situations though, like 3rd and 1.
That man, let that personality come out. I think Thomas Brown, just like Evero, has so much opportunity to let his personality, his jovialness, and everything when he has it to really shine. That's a great moment.
4th and 1 goal line situations. Where do you think the disconnect has been as far as getting that yard?
I mean, I'm gonna have to give you the same answer. I know you're gonna be mad at me, but it's the truth. I think again, we got to do a better job of giving our guys the best opportunity to have success. But whether it be having an opportunity to get on the edge from a movement standpoint, whether it be having a true priority man beater to get guys open, and the pocket allows it, or having a one-on-one opportunity to throw a fade ball, which should be a high success rate with one-on-one opportunities from a goal line standpoint. It's about us executing, which is, you said it yourself, but overall just being able to find ways to put ourselves in the best spot to be effective on any down, but especially when it comes to short yardage.
On Vashti's question about Dalton and coming in potentially for short yardage, which you all had done.
Yeah.
From the outside, that seems like kind of a way to.
It's a New Orleans Saints putting in Taysom Hill. But unfortunately, it just is that we're not trusting our quarterback to stay in, get those yardage. We're not trusting our running back. We're trusting a guy strictly based on his height, and thickness, of course. But I think that's not the right way to go about that. Obviously, it works out a little bit with the Saints because of the gadgetness of Taysom Hill. But, yeah, I just don't think bringing in Dalton. The first time it happened, I wanted to throw my remote across the room. So I don't want to see it happen again. Andy Dalton as a backup quarterback needs to stay in the back.
Maybe keep a drive moving, and then you get Bryce back in, so you wouldn't think it would impact his development. But is there any part of you that sort of views it a different way?
I think it's less about development of Bryce and more just about the flow of the game, but also depending on if it did happen in the game, having to bring Andy off the sideline, haven't been on the field at all for could be 3 quarters. But I feel good about our answers. I just don't feel good about our execution all the time. So I feel good about what we kind of plan week in and week out. Got to do a better job of coaching.
That's a great way to think about that. I'm not mad that the play call. I'm mad that the players couldn't execute, which goes back to the thing that I said, if you guys have followed us here on Roll Coverage, that it was always the personnel. The personnel in the preseason looked terrible. The personnel has been bad. You guys got sold a lemon of a car, essentially. You guys believed that this was a fringe playoff team, and they were never there. The personnel is not there. That's Scott Fitterer's fault. That's David Tepper's fault. All of these things are the front office, and obviously the owner. But he's a part of the front office too. So
they're making plays when we have opportunities.
Thomas, can you look at big picture on Bryce beyond even this season? How much you think his struggles and the stats that are not really strong have to do with just the lack of protection overall?
I think it has to do with our overall lack of execution offensively in general. I have zero concerns about Bryce at all in the future. I still stand by everything I've said from day one about him being an elite player in this league for a long time, just from the overall process he approaches towards it, his mental capacity, but also just overall natural talent as well.
He's saying that processing ability, but one of the points of the article is to state, and I can't quote it. I really wanted to say, and I quote, but basically, go find the article. If I find it first and put it in this video, that's great. It's probably not going to be here, though, because I'm passionate about this in this moment. It literally said that Bryce wasn't absorbing and able to progress through the reads of the old school Frank Reich offense. So if he's this elite processor, but yet he can't process an old offense, then is he really the elite processor that we were all sold? We're just asking questions here, guys. Just asking questions.
I understand that, but for him to fully develop, does he need how much protection does he need for that to happen? Because I mean, no quarterback could survive constantly after things he's gone through.
I think it's overall, again, when it comes to executing better, getting guys open, the pass protection improving, those are all kind of bode well for all of us moving forward.
Shout out to the Carolina Panthers YouTube. That's where I'm able to get all of this great information and bring breakdowns to you guys here. Overall, Thomas Brown, I'm giving you a great grade for this. This is an A-. Evero got an A- as well for the last one. I think you guys are on track. I am so sad that you guys have to go through the whole lack of having a real head coach. Obviously, Chris Tabor is a special teams coach. I'm not doubting that, but an interim coach is not a true head coach. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know that might sound weird, but overall, I think that this entire season was a massive fleecing of the Carolina fan base. So many people bought in, PSLs, the whole nine. People bought tickets to come to games just to see us get destroyed. So I think something needs to change in Carolina. It needs to change soon. But if it doesn't, regardless, I'll still be here. My name is Nick. This is Roll Coverage. Have a great rest of the day.